Hey everybody, it's Trainers103 here today with another replay analysis. We're looking at Lieutenant Oswald here playing a Colorado. Now this is a older replay from version 0.6.1.1, so it's a little bit of a while back, and you can see that on the health of the Colorado, 50,100 on the top hull. The top hull now has a survivability boost. But anyways, as you might have been able to tell by some of the stuff up there, this is an older replay and it has a tendency to bug out. Just restarting the replay sometimes will work, sometimes it won't. But anyways, in his email to me with a replay, he mentioned, well, I'm not going to spoil the result, but he mentioned that he would like me to comment on how this match ended up in that exact result. And that he was trying to save credits playing this Colorado because he didn't have premium time or any premium ships at that time, so it obviously makes sense because the economy is kind of built around in a way where you can't really sustain higher tier gameplay or multi-grinding without actually paying for premium. Anyways, getting along with this replay, we can have a look at the matchmaking. It's us in the Colorado, the opponent gets a Kniser now. Double Fuso New York Congo, which is actually good for us because we have 25mm of armor everywhere on our deck, which means that if those guys have been, for example, the Fusos have been Queen Elizabeths, they can shoot AP at us, they can lol pen us, and they can do a crap ton of damage. On our team, we're getting New Mexico Fuso, again, both 12 barrels, but New Mexico's guns are a little bit more accurate and a little bit better against cruisers, but Fusos can spam HE and blow whatever the hell they want up, and be a major threat to us if they are deciding to spam HE. Bliotfus and Cleaverlols, definite big threat to us. Albus as well. All of these guys will just lol pen us if these guys have IFAC, of course. Budyoni again, he should just be able to lol pen our deck with HE. Anyways, we'd open up a salvo against, I think there's a Budyoni. Not really sure, but we do land some pretty damn nice shots over those islands. 4 hits for 6,703 damage, which means 2 of them must have struck main battery turrets. Which is probably what happened because that incapacitation there probably was a gun turret. Anyways, what was the old Colorado all about? Well, the Colorado, you have reasonable anti-aircraft, Earlycon, Bofors, and crappy dual purpose. It's the 5-inch 25s. So they don't really give you much DPS. And you can see that. 70 overall. We do have some form of AO upgrades, but we can see 19km range, which means we have the range upgrade, which is a typical thing to do. Because we stuck with like 17.8km, 17km main battery firing range on a ship that is incredibly slow like this. You can see 22.2 knots going here. You can see that's probably not going to result in the best of gameplay experience. Anyways, Budyoni shows up again. Maybe we can line up another shot. Trying to bracket the guy in. I think we're aiming a little bit short, so I'm not sure these shells are actually going to find much favor. And there we go. We can see that they do fell. Well, we basically overled the target. We assumed he was faster than he really was. But overall, this being a standard battle, you can see that the opponent team is pretty much pulling the good old standard fault line, Sukabliat Rush West. And our team is doing a very interesting one. They're actually pushing through the 9-10 line. This is not something you really expect to see it too much. Regardless, we're still staring at this Budyoni. I mean, getting rid of their cap defense would be nice. We do pop a scout plane, and I think we're still overleading a little bit here. This guy, there we go. That's a bit better. The guy isn't really traveling at the absolute full speed, and at this point, I probably would have considered just cutting through here. We know our opponent only has one destroyer. We don't actually know where the guy is, and again, we managed to shoot over him, which is a little bit unfortunate, because, you know, picking up more damage is always nice. But without premium consumables, I honestly would not have expended my scout plane here, because it could have been very useful to shoot over into these guys. If they suddenly show up broadside, we can get some pretty good side shots into them, because they're probably going to be trying to pressure up here. And without premium consumables, let's see if it shows up. No, it doesn't, but I think it's going to be over 4 minutes of cooldown time. That could be very, very painful for us. And there's nothing really to stop us from just shooting over these islands normally anyways. Having a look at this Fuso, 17.8km away, I'm not sure he actually knows we're shooting at him, so I'm not sure if we just shot too far over him or not. And I think that Fuso's just trying to sail away in a straight line. So I think those shells are mostly going to fly over the target, and there we go. You can see 1 hit on his superstructure. Another unfortunate salvo, but considering that we weren't spotted and he probably wasn't aware of us, I think we should have just aimed exactly on his broadside and maybe picked up 6-7k damage, because at the end of the day, it's still a Fuso, and, well, shooting at them can be a bit annoying. If you get close to them and you do manage to shoot shells into their 30.5 centimeters of main belt, so we probably could have snapped the shot off on that Bajoni if we were fast. But the shooting, you know, like from about 8-9 kilometers into the broadside of Fuso can definitely yield some good results, but shooting at those things from far away, usually, meh, it's really just painful and RNG based. So unfortunately, we get 1 overpens worth of damage from our scout plane launch, which is a bit unfortunate. Again, we're shooting way too high over here. We need to be aiming a lot lower against this target, because again, he's unaware of us. And I think, at best, we're going to get to clip his pagoda with that salvo. Yeah, you know, we actually do get pens on that, which is a little bit surprising. I think we aimed that a little bit too high, but Colorado dispersion might have actually ended up saving us a little bit there. But still, we're pressuring up. We need to get rid of this Fuso so that the allied team can actually start entering the opponent's capture circle. There you go, slightly better. We're still aiming at the top of his deck for all intents and purposes. But Johnny shoots at us, he does actually set us on fire. We immediately heal, which in my opinion is a mistake. This is a Colorado, we don't have premium consumables, so we don't actually have the additional one to use. So I would have waited until the fire burns out, and then he sets another one. Well, you basically 2 fires, then consider healing. And as you can see, we don't have the basics of survivability or full survivability spec here. Our fires are lasting quite a long while. Yeah, we don't have the signal for it either, so of course fires are going to last quite a bit, and there you go, we can see we got pretty much no value out of that heal whatsoever, and we've got 2-minute cooldown until the next one, and only 3 of them left. We do have Superintendent, so I'm assuming that we're grinding through this at the moment. We don't actually have the Captain specs available, because we do actually have AFT on top of that, if you saw the AA ranges I listed earlier. Picking up another full damage penetration against the Fuso, and as you can see, we're still burning, and this damage, all of this damage here, plus what another fire could have been healed, because Colorado heal pretty much heals you this much of the ship or something like that. Regardless, not turning our guns to fully engage and destroy the Fuso, we're not really at danger of being shot in the side. We don't actually have a captain with priority targets. We don't know how many of the enemy team are actually trying to pick us up. But we salvaged the Fuso again. If we had shot earlier, and there you go. Now, whoa, we have no damage control party whatsoever. We're actually on 60-second fires. This is not recommended at all. I would always suggest in a battleship that you have at least the, the damage control upgrade for credits available in the modules section, where you look at the upgrades at the bottom. You can see there's one that gives you minus, I think, 50% time to fire and flooding extinguishing. I would always recommend you have that. And especially considering the fact that you don't, I would have waited for the first fire to expire and for him to start shooting you again, and then trigger another damage control, heal repair party. Because you can see, look at the amount of health we are capable of regenerating, as we do actually pick up Citadel on Lick It Off spare, really nice damage rush there. So our damage is starting to pick up. We can see we do not actually have the Dreadnought signal available, which would have meant that once this fire expired, all of that can be regenerated, because the Colorado does pretty much get a miniature version of the super heal. Now regardless, we're pushing towards the opponent's cap. Let's have a look at the team list. They've lost the Fuso that we killed over there. How about Cleveland? We're killed on the western flank. We've lost a Tier 7 cruiser, which can be very bad because this guy has an incredible ability to kill stuff like New Yorks and Congos. Well, he can just burn down anything he really wants. 80 spam any of these guys, and AP should kill any of them from long range. Then Mahan's alive, Abwiski's alive, but we got now 4 ships in the opponent's camp. Now this is kind of both good and bad, as we trigger our next heal, which is the correct thing to do. At this point, it is definitely the right thing to do. But it's important to note, if you have multiple ships in the camp and you actually intend to fully cap it out, you only actually have 2 ships that are constantly actually gaining the points. And you need to try to do it so that whoever that is actually acquiring capture points stays back, and the rest of the team just pushes through, so that the opponents will have a difficult time spotting the people that are actually acquiring the capture points. That is, of course, if your team is fully intent on attempting a capture. Now, at this point, we are in a not necessarily disadvantaged situation, but as we can see, we get set on fire again. Our New Mexico over there is probably about to die. We know the Mahan's over there. They got a lot of stuff over there. We do actually get a Citadel on the Congo, not something you'd normally expect, but we've got another ship over here. We can't actually see it at this point. But we've got a large force in inside of the opponent's cap, which is basically sitting here getting farmed. And, I mean, let's have a look at it. You can see them over there. There is quite some smoke around the area, but we're not going to be able to complete the capture of the opponent's base at this rate. So I would honestly just suggest we get ourselves moving again, and Ignite's not, if he hits our deck, he's gonna pen. No way around it. 25mm of armor being fired up a 38cm cannon. Now, of course, I can't, fault you for not having premium consumables, as we try to nail this pushing in armor, trying to just stagger the salvos and see where they land. Just bad dispersion there. If we had gotten, better luck with our dispersion, we could have done something. But at this point, it's just time to start picking up the pace and heading away, because we can't actually win this fight, because this is no firepower, this guy's low HP, this guy's no firepower, who cares about him, he doesn't seem to be shooting, that's a Congo. And we're basically fighting, well, who cares about the armor, but that guy can do a lot of damn, the Congo can do a lot. I mean, let's just trade that. The Gneiss now beats us because it's a Gneiss now, and the Bliotfus can easily take on these two guys, because the Grasper just isn't good at all. Anyways, up Whiskevitz actually opens fire and nails the finishing shot on the armor, which is good for us. And he's actually now taking some fire and spreading the love, I guess you could say. Another 2 overpens on the Bliotfus, but he turned in, so hey, we immediately use our heal because it's back up. And again, we're aiming slightly, there we go, slightly better, but we're still shooting a little bit on the high end of the target. The replay actually does very accurately record your exact point of aim. You need to keep that in mind. Watching a replay can be a little bit confusing because you might feel that you didn't actually aim there in your actual game. Because, let me just pause it here. If, for example, you can see, if you don't have this line activated, just activate it, or, if you don't, have it, and, you think it affects your performance too much, take a little, if you have a little bit of string or rope, just tape that to your screen over here, so you have this line, because it's important to actually see it, or, get it. But regardless, if we have no target locked and we aim like this, our shells, if we shot at a full HP, nice at that range, we shoot here, our shells will hit them around about center line, which is fine. However, we're pretty much, you can see the replay is telling us that we're aiming at a position like this. Now, this could be because, with the target block, we're actually aiming our guns more up like that. Because what happens, normally when you use the locking, you can imagine a precision mode from, like, if you ever use a Wacom tablet or anything like that with a precision mode. Let's say, for example, this island is your target, that is now, X lock, so you have the little locking circle on it, and this is basically your field of view, right? That is the area around it. So let's say, for example, you aim here. Without target locking, your shells will just fall exactly here. But let's say with target locking, because this is your precision mode, it basically expands your field of view to, let's say, the next series of squares. So if you actually physically put your crosshairs here, your shells will land here, right? Because it's like I don't know the exact thing, but it kind of works something along the lines of that. So, for example, if you were to aim at the Gneiss now, like you normally are doing, like this, you can see you're a little bit above the target, and you shoot it with locking, your shells will hit the ship. If you shoot like this without locking, you can see we're aiming. Okay, it doesn't matter, but at this point, the target's 11.2 kilometers away. Our point of aim, even by just adjusting up, which would be around about like 20 odd meters, in terms of the actual ship's physical size, I'm not sure about the actual freeboards of these things, but like 15-20 meters sounds about right, to me at least. Yeah, I'd say, maybe. Maybe that's a bit too much, but 10 to 20 meters freeboard, right? But that means that our current crosshair, the tip of this point, is not marked at 11.4 or something, 200 in this case, because it's scaled. It's actually aimed at like 12.5. So if we were to fire this unlocked, most of our shells just fly over him. So just a little thing to keep in note. I mean, of course, this is an older replay, but just trying to pick apart that. We're approaching the Bliotfus now at this point, and I would have to press Shift, there we go, to get the camera back normal again. Anyway, Fuso on the side is low HP, but the Bjorn is pushing through to our capture area, and we finally get our scout plane up again. This Fuso is reversing. We do pick up that information very, very nice. The Cleveland's about to go down to the Bliotfus, and we see the New York over there pushing through as well. Okay, Fuso was not reversing anymore. Maybe it's a replay artifact of me, because it has been a little bit jittery at times. But we're kind of advancing on the opponent team now, and we only have one heal left because we, in all fairness, completely wasted another one. So we're going to decide to ignore the guys on our side, and again, we kind of unnecessarily used a float plane scout. Again, could have been useful for example, shooting stuff farther away at a later stage. However, it does give us a pretty good shot against this Congo. That's a little bit underled at this point. We want to land the shell slightly further ahead for a chance to lull pen into his bow and get us a frontal citadel on him. But regardless, this guy's the primary target. Screw this grass pair, screw the rest of the stuff that's moving up behind us. It really doesn't matter. Our team should, in all fairness, never have tried to take this fight because we got the opponent team to start pushing through, so we just needed to start advancing in the opposite direction just to increase our chances of winning. I know that the Błyskawica has torped at this Congo. That's a very bad place to aim at. You need to aim a lot farther ahead, but we decide we're going to ignore him and leave him to the Błyskawica. Slightly underled salvo there, it's going to fall behind him, but that Congo looks like he's going to take the torpedoes. You can see slightly underled salvo there, but we do pick up 5k damage on him. But with that pretty reasonable dispersion, I think if we had aimed slightly further ahead, we could have picked up better damage. A little bit unfortunate. Now we're turning our gun turrets and we're kind of pointing them towards... oh, never mind, there seems to be... we seem to be chatting a lot. Less chat, more shooting in my opinion at this point as we broadside one of the New Yorks, but hey, we are still in a Colorado. We do still have some pretty good armor. We, at this point, we're spending a lot of time not shooting when we're trying to turn our gun turrets. I would just slow down the turn, at least use my rear turrets on the nice. Now there we go, that seems to be exactly what we're doing. We're advancing towards the smoke, but this smoke is just going to get us killed because it's a very badly positioned one, and now we have the Mahan coming back. And we don't even shoot guns at the nice now behind us, so we lose out on even more DPM, and now we're losing out on, well, the smoke, so now we're in a just silly position. We do at least pick up the Blyot first, but we need to be aware of the fact that there is almost certainly going to be some Mahan torpedoes probably coming in our direction. Currently he doesn't have the angle to engage us, but now he definitely does. And as you can see, the guy is not shooting while spotted, so there is a pretty good chance that he is, in fact, trying to line some stuff on us. And there you go, he's now firing, so it basically confirms, and he's even angling in, so it just confirms 100% this guy is, well, 99%. But it confirms that the guy has, in fact, dispensed skill. And keep in mind, Mahans have launchers on both sides of the vessel, so there you go. More torpedoes are coming in, so we have some serious evasion that we need to do. We do actually win this engagement, much to my surprise. And there you go, Mahan torpedoes completely fluff. And we're now starting to pick up some serious enemy kills over there, so we actually get away with it. If we haven't bled necessarily our first heal, we would have been able to have another one available. Well, we would have had another one available to give us another, I'd say, 10,000... Yeah, about 10,000 additional health, because we just simply triggered it too early. Heal management in a battleship is incredibly important. Anyways, angle towards the New York while continuing to engage the Knights. Now that is what I would suggest doing right now. Engines ahead, trying to turn here just means we're exposing more of our side to the New York, just simply turning full speed. And, of course, keep guns facing this direction, because now we're turning our rear turrets into an awkward engagement point. And this Knights now is still alive. You see, we're just trying to get one gun turret pointed at him. We can obviously advance in this direction, but the way I would honestly do it at this point is just to kill this Knights now, because we have no other means to get rid of him. We do actually Citadel in New York. Nice shot over there, but again, we're aiming slightly high. You can see, since you do have replays enabled, I suggest you, if you're not certain of how to aim in-game compared to replays, the replay is more accurate than the in-game indicator due to precision mode, as we get an in-cap number 2 turret. Quite unfortunate because it was coming close to coming online. Now, let me just pause this again. We're now in a position where we can play a turret management game. Now, this is very advanced, but you can see the Knights now behind us, incredibly low HP. Błyskawica, incredibly low HP. This guy finishes him, or he finishes him. This game is pretty much about to get stuffed, because we then, we need to engage him. He's going to heal. Unless he dies to torpedoes, we're in a bad spot. But again, focusing on killing this guy, because we can just point our bow towards this guy, and he's going to achieve a grand total of jack shit against us, because he can't lull pen at 25mm bow. He can't lull pen at 25mm deck. All he can really do is shoot into our superstructure, which is covered by gun turret, conning tower, which is here. So it's just this part of the superstructure he can just derp into. And otherwise, this guy's going to achieve a grand total of nothing. Both of our ships are maneuverable, but I'd say our ship is a little bit more maneuverable, and both of them are incredibly slow. So we can always kite the ram, and if needed, we can just go right past them, depress our guns, shoot it to the side, bam, wipe him out later on. Now, what's the turret management game? Well, we point our bow here, and we use our front turrets to engage this broadside New York, and then at that point, by having our guns on the right side of the ship, these guys will turn backwards to try to get to this side of the ship, because our guns are on the starboard side, And then once they're facing towards the Knights now, just like shoot the New York, turn around, look, aim, shoot the Knights now. This is incredibly important because in a situation like this, we don't want to be sailing like, we definitely don't want to be sailing like this kind of an angle against the New York if we had wanted to keep our gun turrets on the back facing the side they were originally facing. Why? Because, well, this guy has a good shot on our reasonably somewhat angled side, but doesn't matter. He's got more of a deck to shoot, which isn't bad because it's 25mm armor. And of course, at this kind of an angle, this guy can shoot into our bow, this area over here, which again, 25mm of armor. If he can do some good damage there as well. So the correct way to angle is in like this, front turrets New York, swing rear turrets around because they will continue swinging like that, engage Kneisnau. Now I don't know if this Kneisnau is going to die to torps or not or whatever, but this is just a move I would be doing. Of course, without having seen what our hero here, Lieutenant Oswald, is going to do. As we get unfortunate overpens, Buiska does actually manage to torp down the Kneisnau, so fine. This kind of a turn, again, fine. I wouldn't overturn it. I would immediately heavy in turn, otherwise we're going to bleed a lot of damage here. If this New York has a shot available on our broadside right now, he needs to aim it at our front bow section. And he does, so he does actually do some very good damage to us there. Very unfortunate. So now we just need to maintain our angle in. We have the best possible angle against the target anyways, and this New York is being really silly, exposing his citadel to us instead of trying to play properly. So, hey, it does actually go down. Now the opponent is still in our cap, we are in their cap, but we have two. It's only one enemy Fuso left, but unfortunately nobody ever got to reset him. The objective here would be to try to get into this kind of, get safe, because he was definitely shooting at us. Now we just need to continue capping, because we do have two ships. Actually no. Because that's red, I forgot. At this point, it's all about hoping the Fuso didn't do anything silly. It really just is. Now, Fusos have incredibly bad detectability range, so the correct thing, in my opinion, to do now is just to go forwards, past this area, and hope that the guy exposes himself. Hiding behind the island is probably not going to work too well. I don't know, because we don't see capture timers. This is one thing I wish Wargaming gave us, capture timers. I mean, obviously, I know the exact result that's going to happen, but you can see we are kind of catching up. But again, no scout plane. If we had this scout plane up now, maybe we could maybe have tracked to engage him over the island. But oh, this is going to be close because we have two ships capping. They only have one. Hoo-hoo. Oh, this is getting really... Oh, this is tense. This is tense. I'll actually spoil it for you. That was a draw. That was actually a draw. Now, unfortunately, the post-match result screens that he sent in the replay didn't seem to work out, but we did pick up some pretty decent damage. I think we could have been a lot better in terms of damage if our shells had been aimed slightly better, because if you can see in the replay, like I mentioned earlier, the way we're aiming means that a lot of our shells are falling over the target, and I mean, of course, that could be a graphical settings thing, and maybe even a small monitor or a inaccurate mouse or something like that. It could be a lot of different things that would be doing this, but just keeping that in mind could mean that you could, acquire a lot better shots and damage. And if you're uncertain how to aim in relation to targets, just check your replays, because the replay is actually very accurate in displaying what you're trying to do, like for example War on Tanks ones. But just keep that in mind and watch the replays and see what the game is telling you where you're aiming compared to what you think you're aiming at, because it will help you drastically in getting these longer ranged shots on target, because for the most part your leading isn't too bad. Anyways, with that in mind, unfortunately with the Fuso getting in there, into the cap at the end, and no one being available to reset him, I can't even English, and, well, a little bit unfortunate engagement that the Allied team had in the opponent's cap, while kind of, basically both teams did this ring around the rosy kind of thing around the map, so, yeah. Could we eventually have won this game, though? And this is the biggest question that I think that Oswald here is trying to ask. And I don't really think so, because the Lolorado is kind of just this bad shit. Now, if we'd killed the Gneisenau earlier, I don't remember if he was in the cap or not, but if we had killed that guy earlier, and then focused all of our weapons on the New York, i.e. we finish off the Gneisenau, then engage, deal with single targets at a time, instead of swapping our aim around like that, and if we had kind of... well, I mean, the disengage didn't actually turn out to be necessary because the opponent team didn't know how to deal with this kind of a situation, and they really, really threw it up and messed it up big time. But if we had actually been able to, get a better engagement out of it, perhaps we could have spared, for example, the Błyskawica to go back to actually reset the cap, instead of trying to force a cap on an enemy team that is there and defending, because that's not going to work. And we saw that in the end, due to the fact that the enemy Fuso entered our cap, and we had no one to reset him, so he just got a full 3 minutes worth of cap. With 2 people, it's 2 minutes worth of cap. Keep this and these numbers in mind. It doesn't double your rate of capture, it just it only boosts it by 50%. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this replay analysis. Hope you learned something from it. If you'd like to send your own replays for me to go over, for example, like I did here, drop me an email to replays.strangers123@gmail.com. There will obviously be an address in the description below, as usual. Give me a description of the game, or specifically what you would like me to have a look at. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube and Twitch.tv/strangers123. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.